Good morning, everyone. Can I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we gather and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Can I, of course, acknowledge the Deputy Premier, Stephen Miles, the Treasurer, Cameron Dick. I know we've got a number of other ministers here today. I saw Minister Bailey. I want to make special mention of Minister Farmer. This is her idea to put this summit on today. She came and spoke to me about it. And I said, Di, you do realise that the last time we had a workforce summit, we had the bushfires. She said, it's going to be absolutely okay for this date. So we went ahead, we booked this date, and now we have another natural disaster of the flood. So if you would be understanding of the fact that following the keynote presentation, I will have to go back out into the field. I feel very odd today having to have put a suit on. And the ministers and I were just talking that during the whole course of last week, hardly any of us were in 1 William Street. We were all out and about, and I'm really proud of the team that I lead. It is a very collaborative team, and at the forefront of everything we do is people. It's people making sure they can have a roof over their head, they can raise their family, they can put food on the table, but fundamentally, the thing that strings all of that together is the ability to have a job, a good, decent job. And having gone through the pandemic and expecting that we would have record unemployment, what we saw through the 2 years of the pandemic, having such a strong health response, it actually meant that our economy was so strong in Queensland, and you'll hear from the Treasurer today outstanding statistics about how we were a job-generating state because people were fundamentally able to go about their lives. We did experience some sectors that had a huge hit, like tourism, and we acknowledged that, and I saw Daniel Gershwin here earlier. We put in extra incentives there to help those struggling industries during that time, and now you see the borders are open, Australians are reuniting with one another, and now the opportunity to travel further abroad with international travel will happen as well. So slowly things are coming back to what we call a new normal. Having said that, there are reports about a new variant coming out of Sydney, so I look forward to getting an update about that at National Cabinet. But really, you've got to think that Queensland is a very, very resilient state. Having been out and about through these natural disasters over the last couple of weeks, I am absolutely inspired by people who just get up every day, no matter what is thrown at them, and get on with their lives. And to have seen firsthand people's possessions right out there on their streets, their whole life possessions destroyed. And they're coming up to me saying, oh, it'll be okay. We'll rebuild back. It's okay. Look, we've got each other. And that is this great Queensland spirit that inspires me. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Maryborough. We had the floods in Maryborough. They've had a second flood. It doesn't matter whether you're in Gympie, walking through the businesses that have been impacted time and time again. And I heard some reports today about looking at can we actually move that business centre to a higher ground. We should look at that. Yesterday, the Treasurer and I were out at Grantham. After the 2011 floods, land was put aside on a hill, so residents and families had the choice of moving there if they wanted to. But what we have to recognise is that these are people's homes, and you can't force people to move. But we need to make sure that our planning is absolutely critical. Which brings us to the next point of, people wrote me a really good speech. I'm really sorry about this, but I tend to just go off the cuff because I'm so passionate about these issues. And then I think about what are the skills that our young people need? What are the growth industries that are going to happen in this state? And how can I match young people's skills and talents with the opportunities that are going to exist in this state? And fundamental to that is the announcement we were able to get last year that Brisbane, Queensland was going to be host to the Olympics in 2032. And if every one of you just sort of turned your minds back a couple of years ago, did you ever think Queensland, Brisbane would get the Olympics. And because the Olympics Committee changed the narrative of how you can be considered, all of a sudden we went from a pool of about 10 or 12 cities to being narrowed down to being the preferred host, to then being able to present in Tokyo to get the Olympics. And that is going to be transformational for our state. It is going to set Brisbane up for the decades to come as an international host city. So yesterday too, we were out at some farms out in the Lockyer Valley, and it reminds me of how strong our agricultural industry is there as well. So much opportunities for exploration into further markets to get our produce onto the tables across the world. So Queensland is definitely the jobs state. So today we're looking forward to hearing your ideas on how we can work together so that Queenslanders have the skills and businesses have the workers to take Queensland to that next level I talked about. With our economy open, we're able to deliver on Queensland's strong economic recovery plan, and we have been seeing the results. As I said, in January, Queensland led the nation on job creation. Unemployment is now at a 13-year low of just 4.4%. So considering we've gone through the pandemic, those figures, 4.4%, are absolutely phenomenal, and Queensland has the highest number of SEEK job vacancies on record. We've had the strongest consumer confidence in the nation prior to the rain bomb that came over the entire southeast of our state, and since we came to office, there have been 376,800 more jobs. Now this is very interesting. Modelling by Jobs Queensland forecasts another 280,000 new jobs by the middle of 2025. And even during the course of the pandemic, we actually saw people moving from other parts of the country to move to Queensland, and you can't blame them. So that's more than 650,000 jobs over a decade. With this success in creating jobs and growing the economy comes new challenges. Finding the workers, developing the skills needed for growth over the short term. And as the world transitions out of the pandemic response, ensuring that we are creating the high-value, secure jobs that will be critical to sustaining economic growth over the long term. Queensland had the Smart State, and following that with Advanced Queensland, we commercialised our research and started new industries. Now I want Queensland to be the Olympic state, and job creation is central to that. To deliver this, we are building new job-creating economic sectors in hydrogen and renewables, critical minerals, advanced manufacturing and resource recovery, biomedical, agriculture support, as I mentioned earlier, by AgTech, tourism, and creative and design. We are focusing on these sectors because they deliver high-paying, secure jobs for Queenslanders. Developing the skills for the economic sectors that are linked into global growth will do more than just prepare us for the future. These skills will strengthen Queensland economy. And today I can confirm, and you'll hear more of this from the Minister for Skills, Di Farmer, we will invest $15 million out of our $200 million Future Skills Fund to develop skills and training in emerging industries. They have $5 million for Manufacturing Skills Fund to lift manufacturing in our TAFEs, $4 million to support energy skills, including for electric vehicles, hydrogen, renewable energy, $5 million for an Agriculture Skills Fund and Beef Processing Skills Fund, and $1 million to support TAFE to develop screen and digital skills. To address the local labour shortages, we need to make sure that young people have a pathway into jobs in their local area and know about the opportunities for work. That's why our government is committed to providing free TAFE for priority skills area, investing in local schools and TAFE to support local jobs, whether that be upgrades to the Gladstone State High School to prepare students for jobs in hydrogen, delivering advanced manufacturing TAFE facilities in Cairns and Townsville, nursing and allied health TAFE facilities in Hervey Bay, upgrades to Glenalla State High School to work in defence manufacturing, or a new aquaculture training centre in the Whitsundays TAFE. I'm interested to hear more from you today about how we can work with employers to directly link training with local job opportunities, particularly in our regions. Queensland's regions are the job-generating arteries of our economy, exporting the goods that shape our region and the world. As the world embarks on a clean energy industrial revolution, Queensland's regions will also be at the forefront. As I said previously, the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games provides a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to secure investment in high-valued jobs. The Olympics places Queensland on the world stage alongside Paris in 2024 and Los Angeles in 2028, with an estimated $8.1 billion in economic benefits and over 91,000 jobs. The Olympics will deliver legacy infrastructure that will set up long-term economic activity. And just as we've done with the second stage from the Commonwealth Games, now supporting the film industry on the Gold Coast. Now, another very important issue for everyone to think about today is increasing workforce participation to unlocking Queensland's economic potential. As we approach the end of Queensland Women's Week, it's important to reflect on this. The participation of women in the workforce sits at 62.9% compared to 70% for men. As John Stuart Mill said back in 1869, the lack of a principle of perfect equality is now one of the chief obstacles to human improvement. Unfortunately, it still remains so with women, earning less than men on average. Wage equality for women and providing the opportunity to work across economic sectors is a vital step to lifting economic growth. Our government will soon release a Queensland's Women's Strategy with female economic participation and security a key focus. I'm proud of the progress we have made supporting 33,000 women through our Skilling Queenslanders for Work initiative, including 18,000 into ongoing employment. And another 10,600 women have been supported into work through our Back to Work program. I'm laying down the challenge in the room here today to build on these achievements and work with us to do even more. This summit is an opportunity to change our thinking and bring new ideas to the table. Working with the Construction Skills Queensland and the Australian Industry Group, my government will support more women and girls to work in construction and manufacturing. We will provide support and a toolkit for businesses to engage with women and girls in apprenticeships and traineeships and improve diversity and inclusion. And we will look at how we can improve engagement in our high schools to encourage more young people into design and technology, as well as training and traineeships in engineering and manufacturing. The 2018 Skills Summit delivered outcomes including expansion of our Gateway to Industry Schools program, implementation of micro-credentialing and establishment of regional jobs committees. The input you provide today is absolutely critical for our next step. I think this comes at a really important point in time. Not only are we exploring new industries, but we do know that skills is being discussed basically in every state and territory. What we have seen is we've seen other states starting an aggressive campaign into other states to poach workers. And I'm telling you today that Queensland will also launch an aggressive campaign into attracting tradies to come to Queensland. You've already seen a very successful work in Paradise with our tourism industry, and I absolutely believe as we need to rebuild and recover from these natural disasters, we need a really strong and aggressive campaign to attract workers here to Queensland. We need to rebuild people's homes, we need to rebuild infrastructure, and we also have people doing more building in the construction industry, so we need to have more tradies. So my message is going to be, if you're a tradie living in another state, please come to Queensland, and we'll be looking at an incentive package there. So in conclusion, can I wish everyone all the very best for today's summit. Please be assured every single idea that you put forward will be considered by my team. There will be a number of ministers here during the course of today, and thank you so much for your participation. I acknowledge each and every one of you in this room today. Your input is absolutely critical as we take Queensland to the next level. And where else would you want to live? There is no better place than Queensland to raise your family, to work, and to live in paradise. Thank you.